Today I want to speak about the most important thing in my life, and it's the thing that I am the most passionate about, and that is changing people's lives. And I want to tell some stories from this very special book that I received last week from my clients. And let me be clear, this is not about me. This is not to say, oh Joe, look at how good you are, look at what you've done. It's not about that at all. It's about the people that I have helped along the way, the people that have given me fulfillment and genuinely helped me out of the darkest times of my life and give me purpose myself. What I want to do through this series is showcase what is truly possible when you apply all of these mental frameworks that I speak about, all of these daily habits, rituals. It's not just about working on your physique, it's about who you become along the way, because everyone looks at the transformation pictures on social media, on Instagram, but the truth is they don't really tell the full story. Yes, they show a before and after, but it's not really the point. The point is, who has that person become in the process of investing in themselves? Because I genuinely think the most important investment you can make is in yourself. And that's what these episodes are going to be about. It's going to be talking through the stories of my amazing clients who have genuinely completely changed their life for the better and are now a completely different path. So without further ado, I want to kick into story number one, which is who I call Scatty Matty, Mr. Matty Bailey. And Matty's life has completely transformed over the last 2.5 years since we've been working together. And that is because he has applied everything I have said to him, especially when it comes to his mindset. And as a result, his life has completely changed in the process. He's now got a successful gym, Bodytech Winsford. He's now become an online coach in the Coach Creator. He has fulfillment in helping other people beyond the journey that he's gone through. And not only that, he still manages his own electrical business. But beyond that, those are the things that he's gained along the way. It's the person that he's become. He's now a better dad, he's a better husband, and he's just a better person to be around. And he wakes up every day with clarity and actual control of his mind. And I don't think you can really put any price tag on that, because that's what it's all about. Waking up every morning excited for life, excited to help other people, feeling fulfilled in what you do, and just knowing that you're actually becoming a better person every single day. So if we rewind a couple of years ago from when I first started working with Matty, I knew him back from college days. He's a lot older than me. And when I used to train in the local gym called Dave's Gym, he was one of the guys that I looked up to. And he won't even know this, I was a little bit intimidated. I used to call him Scatty Matty. And I'd know him from like certain events and parties that we'd go to, but we didn't really know each other on a one-on-one level. So when he inquired with me 2.5 years ago, I was a little bit taken back. Since that point, we have just got an amazing working relationship. And I think the biggest key for me is to truly understand someone's human psychology before you start trying to transform them. And this is how it goes from being a fitness coach into a human performance coach, by tapping into this, how someone thinks. And the one thing that was very clear to me with Mike is he's a very logical based thinker. To start with, he would ask 1,000,001 questions every single week. And some coaches, that might drive you absolutely mad. When you understand, as some people gain more understanding about a certain subject, what that allows them to do is assign more meaning to the things that they're doing. And of course, as you assign more meaning to the tasks that you're doing, naturally as a byproduct, you're going to get a better result because you're going to put more into the process because you understand what you are doing. And that is Matty in a nutshell. Matty just needs to know everything he does to an absolute nth degree of detail, because then it makes sense in his head and then he'll carry it out and he won't ask any more questions, which is a great thing. But honestly, the change that I have seen in Matty has been crazy. You could tell that his emotions were like an emotional roller coaster. Every time he checked in, there was never a level of a consistency in terms of his emotional control. So going through this process of actually looking at his daily habits, looking at his mental frameworks, teaching him how to actually take control of his mind, how to calm himself down, how to not be pulled from pillar to post, because I think it's the very common thing that a lot of people sort of fall into the trap of. Their emotion every single day is dictated purely down to one thing. It's about other people or other situations in their life. Well, the reality of this is is if that is a place that you're in, it's a very dangerous place to be. And the reason it's a dangerous place to be is because you are waking up every day not knowing what life's going to throw at you, but also accepting the fact that you can't actually control how your outcome of your day is going to be. But in life, there's two things. There's stimulus and there's a response. And you can't control stimulus, you can't control what happens to you, but you always have control over your response, how you actually process this. And this has been the big unlock for me. It's understanding that there's a level in life where you just kind of got to get on with it. Just surrender to what happens to you, but always having control over your emotions. And that emotional regulation I always speak about is something that I've seen so much in him, where yes, he can be triggered, just like all of us can. That is just built in our human nature. It's a fight or flight response. But the real key for him was being able to bring himself back to an emotional baseline, because unfortunately the way that his mind used to work is if something triggered him in work because he ran an electrical business, he's managing a team of people, he's got a lot of stuff going on, it's very stressful. So when something went wrong at work, that didn't just ruin his mood for a day or 2 days. It was genuinely a written off week. It was just a case of, right, we need to start again. So undoing that naturally, of course, it helped his physique progress. But this is where I think as a coach, you have to take on that responsibility from a mental framework standpoint. Because if your commitment to a client is to get the best possible physical results, they have to be in the best mental place. So if you can build these mental frameworks around emotional control that is going to allow people to become more and more consistent over a period of time, what happens as a natural byproduct? They become mentally stronger and they become more consistent, which of course we all know from a physique development standpoint, that is what's going to allow us to get the best possible results. And from the pictures and the videos that you'll probably see overlaid on this, you will see what an elite level transformation Matty has pulled off. Like, he looks unbelievable. But as I said, that's just what Instagram shows. That's just the transformation pitch I'll post. It doesn't show all of the work that we've done over the last couple of years, because when I tell this story, it might last a few minutes, but what we've got to realize is this has been hundreds of check-ins. It's been hours of my voice notes. It's been little unlocks at a time. And that's the thing. When you're in a place where, you know, as in his words, he was fighting demons in his head, he's been in very dark places before, it can feel really daunting that you've got such a mountain to climb. But I think the biggest thing when you're on a mental development path and you're looking at mental performance is just shrinking the dragon, as Jordan Peterson likes to say. It's starting with the most bite-sized steps possible. So it's just thinking about that next step and not being overwhelmed. And when he's been able to do that, and that's accumulated over a period of time, he's gone from having an electrical business to now owning his own gym that's incredibly successful, to now becoming an online coach and just genuinely having fulfillment in every single area of his life. And of course, from a financial perspective, that's amazing. From a validity standpoint, it's amazing. Social media presence, it's amazing. Of course, there's so many wins that have come of it, but the only one win that we really care about is the person he's become along the way, because he wakes up every day now feeling fulfilled. And that is truly what it's all about. And as with every story, there's always what I call a turning point. And usually it's for the wrong reasons, because it usually comes as a result of a rock bottom moment, as I like to call it, just like my story showed everyone. And for Matty, without going into too many reasons, it looks great on the surface that he now has this amazing gym that's unbelievably successful. But let me tell you, like, that was not the full story of the journey. And it's not for me to disclose, but he did have an extremely hard time where he almost lost the gym. He also had massive issues in his own electrical business too, regarding some staff issues. And I don't want to go into the details, but like, trust me when I say it was bad. It was very, very bad. And it had him really at the lowest point of his life. And he even said, this has genuinely been the hardest year of my entire life, but you've genuinely helped me get through it. And this is the thing, if anyone is at a rock bottom moment or a really low point, it's all about understanding how you get out from that point. And to be honest, I actually think it's a good thing, because everyone needs this turning point, that realization where it's like, there's nowhere else I can go. There's no worse this can get for me. The only way forward is genuinely upwards. And that was the conversation that we had to have. And this is where the emotional regulation really kicked in and where his story came from, where it was about stimulus and response, because there was so much in his life at that time when he was in the midst of losing the gym, in the midst of staff issues in his business, and all the rest of it was going on. And that is just to name a couple of things. There was probably 10 I could reel off. But the big thing here was when I spoke about really understanding stimulus and response, being able to control the controllable, because the reality was all of these things he had no control over. There was zero control. It was all out of his hands. And he was spending so much of his time and so much of his mental bandwidth worrying about things that he genuinely had no control over. It was just a case of control the controllable. And the minute that that penny dropped, and I still remember when he texted me and said, I think the penny has dropped, and I think those were his exact words, that's when everything started to change, and that's when he just went from strength to strength. But that's just a glimpse as to how hard it's been, because it's so easy for me to just paint the perfect picture that it's been a really smooth sailing path and it's been so linear and every month has been better than the last. But it really couldn't be further from the truth. Like, we have had some really, really tough times that I have taken responsibility before because I knew how well he could do. He just needed a helping hand getting there. And the truth be told, I just know that he's only just getting started with this, and I just genuinely can't wait to see where he goes. He joined the Coach Creator a couple of weeks ago. He's already on 20 plus clients, growing, feeling fulfilled, and just genuinely buzzing for life. So now the exciting part is to see, where does this actually go from him? But that's the difference. It goes from being in a dark place, not knowing what life's going to throw at you, never really being in control of your emotions, to waking up every day with purpose. And as I love to say, the best alarm clock you can have in the world is having a purpose, is having something to wake up for that you genuinely feel compelled and driven for. And that's what it's about. So big love, Matty. I can formally take your name away from you of Scatty Matty, because I don't think it really applies anymore, but you will always be Scatty Matty to me. But truth be told, this has been one of the most amazing journeys, and I do just want to finish up with a couple of words that you have written me, which was unbelievably nice. But he's put, because of your guidance, I've had the confidence to start 2 new businesses that are both doing really well. That alone is something I never thought would have been possible for me. But it's down to you, being there for me through the hardest of times. And more recently, enrolling on your Coach Creator course has been a complete game changer. What started as a passion project has now turned into something I'm genuinely proud of. In 2 months, I've already exceeded 20 clients. That's given me self-belief, financial stability for me and my family, and great accountability to my own goals leading from the front. These past few months of prep haven't been easy by any regard, with the stress of the business and everything else going on, but having you by my side has made all the difference. I know I wouldn't have been able to achieve what I have both physically and mentally within the business without your support. I'll be forever grateful, not only for your coaching knowledge, but for the patience, time, and genuine care you've always shown me. Thank you, brother, from the genuine bottom of my heart. Nothing but love and respect. And that right there is the impact of what you can have on someone's life. And as I said, this isn't about me. It's not about massaging my ego. This is hopefully going to inspire other coaches to not just coach the physique, not just coach people through a transformation and give them macro plans and a training plan and say crack on. And when they don't follow it, you say, oh, it's not my fault, it's their fault, they don't take responsibility. That's not what it's about. If you truly care about changing lives, it comes down to human performance. You cannot coach a physique without coaching the mind too. And that's what human performance is all about.